Cowboys new head coach is going to be at the podiums at 3:30 today, so stick around with me. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Question, Clarence. I think, this is something that I've done for a long time, which means spend the off season, the summer. My wife gets mad at me, but tracking coaches. I literally call guys in the business that I know and that I trust, and I'm like, hey, tell me somebody that maybe you think the world of, but that I've never heard of. And, it's such a close-knit fraternity that guys are happy to share good people with good people. I think there's 3 guys maybe that I've worked with before that weren't carryover guys. When you asked me initially how the staff was going to come together, did I think that would be the case? Probably not. But again, the guys that came in, I think we found great teachers. We found guys that were incredible people, and I have a real big belief in fundamentals. And so I think if you look at all the coaches that we've added, both young, old, the ability to train fundamentals and the developmental process of our players is critical.
Coach.
And one last thing, I know for a fact our players are going to feel the passion and energy of this staff. This staff is awesome, just in terms of the energy, the way they want to teach, the way they want to be on the grass. So I can't wait to see us get to work here in a couple months.
Would you describe what this past 4 weeks have been like for you?
Really busy. You go to sleep at night, you have a pretty good plan of what the next day is going to bring, and you wake up and there's certainly things that you anticipated, but wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, okay, I got to do this. I didn't think about that. So even being in it, David, for 25 years, there's things that pop up that you're just kind of like, wow, I hadn't thought about that. So I'd say the other head coaches have been amazing. They've reached out to me. They've been awesome as sounding boards, but the staffing was probably the most difficult part, but also the most enjoyable part.
Brian, kind of circling back to Osa, but expanding upon that.
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of ongoing conversations. Obviously, Osa has done a terrific job for us. He's a terrific young player. He does everything right. And as those communications keep going, it's never done till it's done, but he'd be a guy we'd love to have back. Yeah, I think, as you look at it, you always want to look at your own roster first. So who can we bring back? Who are the guys that we feel like are cornerstones of what we're trying to get done? I believe in this, Nick. I think that there's talent acquisition, which is adding players, okay, whether they're internal, external, whatever that is, but there's also talent development. And I think that's where we're focused on right now as a staff is, okay, not just guys that are free agents that we want back, but let's take a Tyler Guyton, for example. Let's take a Deron Bland, for example. And what is the plan for them that we came up with as coaches to help them get a little bit better? Jake Ferguson a couple years ago, Lunda Wells had an incredible plan for him, and so Ferg had an incredible second year. So that's kind of where our focus is right now. It's just, okay, each guy, and it's not just, okay, these are the 3 areas that we want to improve on. That's easy. You guys could look at it and say, hey, these are the 3 areas that we need to improve on player X, but it's the plan of action that makes the difference. Okay, well, how do you improve a guy's change of direction, or how do you improve a guy's ability to get off blocks and separate or tackle? And so those are the things that we're currently trying to do along with the playbook to develop our guys in-house. It's kind of cool because it's a little bit what I was doing for Mike. Clayton's going to be very impactful for me in putting together the game plan. I think as the head coach, you always think you're going to be able to be in all the different meetings and things like that, and I'll be in most of them, but you're going to get pulled away. There's going to be things that come about that you're like, okay, wasn't in there for that. This guy is just incredible in terms of his foundation of teaching fundamentals, and he's been a kind of a fast riser, if you will. I remember meeting him a couple of years ago. He's coaching the tight ends here in Indy, and just walking away from the conversation before a game and being like, okay, that guy's different. And then to see the success he had in Arizona, he's a guy that I've kind of been tracking and saying, hey, if ever given the opportunity to be a head coach and being the play caller, a guy like this would complement me in some areas that I quite honestly need to be complimented. And I'll be good for him because I did this for the last 2 years with Mike. And so I think we'll work very, very well together. Incredible. Pete, was so good to me. 2017, I was coaching the quarterbacks in Indianapolis, and my phone rang, and I actually had Pete's number in my phone from 2001 when I left USC. Pete came in and did not have an opportunity for me to stay there. And I saw it and looked at it, and from the moment I went there, Pete's been incredibly impactful to me. And what do I mean by that? I mean the way he looks at the game, the way he wants people to let their own personalities shine and not kind of put people into a box per se. I think that's one of his greatest strengths, even at his age. His energy, his juice, his passion. Again, it was a hard breakup. It really was. You know, I laugh about the let Russ cook thing. Pete and I truly just agreed to disagree. You know, we set franchise record for most points scored, and we just kind of saw it go in different directions. But the guy's a Hall of Fame coach. I mean, to do what he did at USC, to do what he did, you know, at Seattle, and, you know, what he'll do in Las Vegas. And very powerful for me, because here's a guy that talked a lot about when he left, I think it was the Jets, New England, I can't remember, but he took a year off. He literally got a notebook out, and he wrote down everything that he believed in. And he challenged me on that from the first day I was there. He said, Schotty, he goes, in a lot of ways, you're a football savant. You've been around the game your whole life. There's things that you've learned along the way that you don't even know you've learned. But what do you really believe in? And I thought that was really, really cool. And he didn't have to do that. Yeah, amazing coach that I truly, probably of all the coaches, including my father, he's the guy I probably model myself the most after.
Brian, when you've walked around,
He's been great. He's been an incredible sounding board. Again, competed with him for a long time. Think the world of him. You know, I think you see and you watch the way our defense is going to play, the way they're going to run to the football, the way they're going to tackle. Talked about a little bit the commitment to owning the line of scrimmage. I think that was just an incredible hire for us, and one, quite honestly, that a lot of people were trying to get him, and we were able to get him, which is great for me, not just as a coach, but as a man. You know, kind of in the same stage of life. We're about to be empty nesters, my wife and I, and he is an empty nester, so we talk about that quite a bit as well. Yeah, honestly, it's been more about life. You know, he and I love one another. We care about one another, just like I do all the guys, CD, and excited to get to know more of the defensive guys. I think I've got a great relationship with a bunch of the guys on defense as well. I would say most of my day is spent walking the halls, you know, and getting a feel for the players. Like I talked about, seeing Tyler Guyton down the weight room, you know, and bumping into Dono in the training room the other day. That's part of changing the culture, and that's part of letting these guys get to know me on a deeper level. But you know, Dak and I talk about being dads and fatherhood, and there's been a little bit of just, you know, fun talk about scheme, but, you know, at this time of year, we're not focused on that. We're focused on other things, and his rehab being one of them. He's kicking ass. He's doing great, and special man.
Brian.
Running backs first?
Yes.
You want a guy that's got vision. You want a guy that has contact balance. The fronts that we're seeing, the fronts that we're facing, require guys to be able to make hidden yards. You know, whether there's a free safety in the hole or there's a linebacker or a defensive lineman coming off at the point of attack, you got to have a guy that's willing to run through arm tackles. I do believe that you have to have the ability to catch the ball coming out of the backfield. Why do I say that? If a team wants to commit to stopping the run, there's ways that they can try to do that. And we don't want that to take an elite runner or a position like that out of the game. So if a team's doing a nice job stopping the running game, you want to be able to get them involved, you know, throwing it to them. And that doesn't mean they have to play like a receiver, but they have to be able to run routes coming out of the backfield and have the ability to separate and run after the catch is important. Offensive lines, it's different. You know, it's based on whether you're talking about the interior guys, centers, guards are a little bit different. Tackles are a little bit different, but the thing that I'm interested in watching is the development of a couple of the second-year players. You know, you watch Cooper Beebe, Tyler Guyton, those guys. Tyler Guyton's been in the weight room every day. He's working his ass off, and to me, that's really exciting. But I think the influence of Clayton, the influence of Connor Riley, I think that package was so important for us, and I think we hit a home run.
Could you move?
He is ready. He is ready. He's been waiting for this opportunity for a number of years. He's been ready for some time. You know, told them all the positive stuff about Brian, that and the stuff we'd been through together, and the confidence I had in him, and to try and reassure him, because it sounded like he was really in the lead position to get that job. I was trying to help Jerry feel good about it too, because he was trying to get ready for it. So I was glad that I had a chance to help him.
Much regard for Brian. So I actually worked with him years ago at the New York Jets, and it was then that I probably saw how excellent he was. Both of us probably had a little less chrome and a little more juice on some things, but I knew then that he had rare things about him, and so it was an easy connection. Him going to Georgia, I had just done that at Florida, like so many parallels that I've kept up with him through the years. Then to be, on the same staff with him for 2 years, he helped me a lot. First as, an analyst to help look ahead and find some things, and then also, obviously, and then when he switched back to coaching on offense. So he's gonna do a fantastic job. He's got high-level coaching, high-level, relatability, and when you put those two things together, that's a really rare combination. He's got them both.
Question, Clarence. I think, this is something that I've done for a long time, which means spend the off season, the summer. My wife gets mad at me, but tracking coaches. I literally call guys in the business that I know and that I trust, and I'm like, hey, tell me somebody that maybe you think the world of, but that I've never heard of. And it's such a close-knit fraternity that guys are happy to share good people with good people. I think there's 3 guys maybe that I've worked with before that weren't carryover guys. When you asked me initially how the staff was going to come together, did I think that would be the case? Probably not. But again, the guys that came in, I think we found great teachers. We found guys that were incredible people, and I have a real big belief in fundamentals. And so I think if you look at all the coaches that we've added, both young, old, the ability to train fundamentals and the developmental process of our players is critical.
Coach.
And one last thing, I know for a fact our players are going to feel the passion and energy of this staff. This staff is awesome, just in terms of the energy, the way they want to teach, the way they want to be on the grass. So I can't wait to see us get to work here in a couple months.